situated. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. How is everybody doing? Why can't I see you? And I have no idea who you are to say hi. That's problematic. But if you were here for earlier live, I am sorry. This is going to be a repeat. But hello there. If you are new to the channel, hello. If you have been here a while, hello. It should be, if it goes anything like the earlier live went, this live is going to be interesting. I think. I hope it goes like it did earlier, but it's impossible to say. Because so often, the people in live make the live. And I'm not saying that's always the case, because I've been around enough that I can sort of wiggle it a little bit. I need to quit talking though, because I'm not getting to where I need to be. How are you, Abby? Okay, we have that up, so that is good. I need to switch over to the other messages so that I can see everybody and they can see me. That's good. I'm doing pretty good. Have what took me 2 days of work, like almost a whole day. I was up till 1 o'clock working on it. And then part of the day yesterday. Would you believe it if I told you that it was put together in less time than one of my regular videos? I was so not happy. So not happy. Hello, whoever just came in. I don't know if Carol's joining us or not. She may have decided, since she heard it, that she's not going to come in. I'm going to check in with her, and then we're going to get started. It took me, because it's an AI thing, because my artist skills are at best. And so I would type in what I wanted and the picture would come up and I'd be like, that looks nothing like what I want. And so I would shut it down and restart and type in what I wanted. And either they couldn't make a picture of it, or something was up. So I ended up just to get one picture sometimes took me 20 minutes. So that is a thing. And I was not happy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, it takes a lot sometimes to get one picture. Some things it got right. There were 50 states. Hopefully, I included every state, and 50 different, well, 50 states, and then 50 invasive species to go with it. Yeah. It was crazy. But I need to get started because we're not getting anywhere. So, I am Nature Guy X46, and this is Nature Guy X46 Presents. And hello. Today we were talking about a saltwater fish that, believe it or not, we eat. Some of us eat it more often than others, and that's okay. It is, of course, if we eat it, it has to be caught. And it's also, importantly, a part of a bigger picture besides just us catching it and eating it. And it is a picture of the biodiversity of this planet. This species is not endangered yet. So when I say that it's not endangered, there are levels at which an animal or plant will go through before extinction. Near threatened, believe it's near threatened, vulnerable, endangered. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. But anyway, this species is vulnerable, which means that it could go at any time. It could go endangered at any time. So before we jump into all of that, let's first learn a little bit about this species. But before that, a little bit more talking. I learned something. I always learn something anytime I do a video or a live, always. Probably more so than you guys do because I don't include everything. If I did, we would be here all night. But I hope you guys take away something from this. It is not every day that I cover a fish in live. Hello again. Marie, have you met Abigail? I don't know. I don't remember. Okay. So this is a denizen of the ocean, and we're going to learn a little bit about it before we jump into all of the nitty gritty. So this fish can weigh up to 77 pounds, and it can reach 51 inches. She is one of my new, well, she's my other moderator because I'm hoping one of these days to need full-time moderators, because you've been here, Marie, on the days that it gets crazy. So I'm hoping with 2 moderators, maybe we'll get a handle on the spam and the trolls. So anyway, I was very much surprised that oh, wait, that's the wrong thing. I posted. Hold on, guys. I love it when, with best intentions, yeah, agreed. Some lives are a little much, and I'm hoping this one doesn't end up that way. Um, Carrying on. So this fish can live for more than 20 years? I was a little bit surprised at that because I'm thinking fish don't live a super long time. And then I thought, great white sharks can live for almost 80 years. So, I get it. Atlantic cod ranges from Greenland to the waters off North Carolina, and they can reproduce between the ages of 2 to 3 years. Now, earlier today, people were really, really surprised that a female cod can produce 3 to 9 million eggs every time they spawn. You got to remember, though, that there are predators everywhere. Therefore, an animal like a cod produces millions of eggs so that only 2 can make it to adulthood. Crazy, right? Now, they are top predators in their community. They also live fairly close to the ocean floor, and hopefully that was enough to catch your interest because we are moving on. Not bad. We're already 12 minutes in. Not bad. Not bad. I don't know. Okay, now I do. Atlantic cod is one of those fish that we already talked about being targeted by humans for food. I get it. Yeah. I remember you TPS10 at TPS10. It is a big fishery with several nations all claiming the same item. Please do not spam my channel. I realize you were football edits, but please don't spam. So, in 2022, commercial fishermen caught 1 million pounds of food of cod, for human consumption. And that catch worth at least $2 million, if not more. Cod is also highly prized by recreational fishermen, and they landed around 380,000 pounds of Atlantic cod in 2022. Now, these stats come from the NOAA website, and they have a lot to do with animals in general from the ocean. So why did I post those stats? Well, it's because the cod population is going, and if we're not careful, they could go full-fledged endangered. And if it slips beyond that, they could enter critically endangered. And then after that, the next step is the next step after that is extinction. Oh, there would be fish sticks. It just would not be cod fish sticks. And there's still, remember, we are talking about Atlantic cod. There is still cod in the Pacific Ocean. that can be caught. Now, it does put a strain on some of the countries outside of America, because they're catching cod too. And so that is part of the problem. Our fishing for them, we overfish the population. And so it's really easy to deplete. No. Cod is strictly saltwater. There might be relatives that might be freshwater. I don't know. I can check real quick. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. I'm thinking the answer is going to be yes, burbot is a freshwater relative of the cod. And it is actually it goes by the name, it has several different names, but it is most common in Lake Erie, but I guess it's in all of them. I don't think so. I don't think it's something that you're going to make we're not at that point. We could still turn this around very easily. So, that's what I'm hoping anyway. Now, like, just because fishing, and we're using that as a possibility that the fishing is the problem, it doesn't mean that fishing is the total problem. Hello, everybody that may be watching and I haven't said hi to. There could be other things like microplastics being an issue, or we don't know, is ocean noise an issue? We don't really talk about that with fish, but it could be. Another thing that we don't really know is we don't know their exact population, because look at the Pacific Ocean and how much room these fish have to move. It's almost impossible to know just how many are out there. Could we lose this fish? That's a really good question. I don't have an answer for it. It's possible. Now, what I don't know, and I'm pretty sure that the NOAA stats that I read to you are strictly for North America, the United States. Sorry, y'all. So, according to data, the UK catches a relatively small amount of cod. In 2022, they imported around 85,000 tons of cod. So they import way more than they catch. The UK consumes 115,000 tons of cod every year. Every year. But it's not really sustainable. That's the problem. Yes, they are vulnerable. It is the net importer of cod, if you can imagine that. And most of what they catch, most of what they get in, comes from other countries. So countries like Iceland, China, and Norway. And unless China is fishing in the Atlantic, it's not going to be Atlantic cod. If you have questions, make sure you ask them. Because I do go through this a little bit fast. Now, imagine if all the other countries that might be fishing for this fish, and you get the idea of why something needs to be done. So these fish are also caught in different methods. Some of which we know are not kind to wildlife. Other things like gill nets and trawls need to be a little bit more precise. So it's hard to limit on these gill nets and these trawls, because remember, the trawl, basically like a big colander net, and it just goes through and catches. So you might put your net down when you find a school of cod, and then you just scoop them up and you have your cod. And then the gill nets, you're not guaranteed to just catch cod. So it's hard to limit what you're going for. Now, what are we doing to save them? Now, I can't talk for other countries. I can only talk right now for the United States. Remember, earlier we talked about how we have regular John Doe out there catching cod for recreation. In the United States, that is seasonal at best. So outside of that season, you can't legally catch cod. Another thing that we can do is we can limit the size of the fish that can be caught. Setting some form of annual catch limit. Now, within the Gulf of Maine, there is a season for recreational fishing for Atlantic cod, which is good. They must be 23 inches in length to be caught, and you are allowed one fish per day. Now, what's really nice about this is they fish outside of spawning season. We'll talk more about that a little bit later, I believe. Which is really nice, again, because you're not catching fish that are needed for other things. Outside of that season, or the season is May 1st through the 31st, and then it goes from September 1st to April 30th. And again, the size has to be over 23 inches. But what does change outside of that area is you can catch 5 fish a day. Now, if we control how many fish are being taken, it might push numbers up. But again, it's not just commercial, or it's not just the people that are out there catching for sport. These numbers are not commercial fishermen. It's people like me. These totals can impact the number of fish that are out there living their best lives. It doesn't mean that there's a limit. And there might be a limit to how much commercial fishermen can catch. I don't know if there is a season for commercial cod fishing. No. So if you are a fisherman, if you are a commercial fisherman, you can catch basically year round. They're most important, you're most likely to catch them during the spring, and then in the summer they head away from shore because it gets too warm. So in the fall, you're probably going to catch more fish. So one of the things that they're doing is they're setting catch limits. Even on the so let me just go through this. It could. So there are two different stocks, at least from the America side. We have the Gulf of Maine and the Georgia Banks. And for the Gulf of Maine stock has not been doing really well. And then you have the Georgia Banks where they've been way below. Commercial fishermen, and these are some of the things that they're trying to do. They are trying to, permits are going to be required for commercial vessels. They have a separate management thing for recreational vessels, year-round and seasonal area closures. So that being said, they're going to close some fisheries to protect spawning fish. They are putting into it a minimum size limit to prevent harvest of juvenile fish. Because if you catch juvenile fish and you keep them, they're not going to grow up. Another thing is they're going to set annual catch limits. And there is a rebuilding plan. Fishery is basically whoops. A fishery is an area of water where fish are caught for commercial or recreational purposes. So basically, if we have a lot of bluegill in one lake, that could be a fishery. So there is a rebuilding plan to rebuild the Gulf of Maine to a target population in place with a target date of 2033. So they're hoping to rebuild the population by 2033. And same thing for, not the same thing. There is a plan in place to bring the Georgia bank stock to a target population level, and that has a target date of next year. I don't know how to do this. Okay, so I'm not going to do that because that's not going to make any bit of sense to me whatsoever. So this is for 2023. And what we're going to do is we're going to click into the fisheries. No, I guess I can't. Oh. Sorry. I was trying to find something and I couldn't find it. Darn it. So at this point, my end of it is done. If you have questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer those. It's complicated. Anytime that you have commercial fishing or commercial hunting, it gets complicated because there's tons of money involved. And as we all know, money speaks very loudly. And it's not always they don't always have the best interest of the fish or whatever in mind. Hopefully they can save them. They have a plan. If people will follow that plan, maybe the cod has a chance. I can't speak for it because I don't know. I don't know their exact plan, so I can't say if it will work or not. I think some people do. After all, if you want to make money, if you only catch cod and you want that livelihood, you better care. Now, there might be higher ups that are like, whatever, but the average fisherman, they care. The legit fisherman would care. Now, if it's a major fishery, commercial fisherman, maybe not so much. Right. And you're right. No, I think there are fishermen that legitimately, even commercial fishermen, that do care. But I also think that there's a point where it's easy to go out into a forest, into an area of forest, and say, well, how many oak trees are in this forest? For harvesting purposes. It's another thing to go out there and say, how can you go and pinpoint an exact population of cod? I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean by like Oceania sailors and sailors for the sea. No, I think there are fishermen out there. Yeah, but you still, that is not the answer though. In the long run. Because even if you replace them, the trees still have to grow. It's not, that's not really an answer. Because, and I realize that we're not necessarily planting little tiny trees. Okay, so just to put this into a little bit of perspective, a black oak tree, okay? A black oak tree is going to take about 50 years to reach 50 feet tall. So that's they're going to have an average growth rate of around 12 inches a year. So if I chop down a tree, it's not going to have optimal acorn production for another 25 years. At its age of 25 years, and then, even then, it needs to be at least at 50, and it's not. So replanting will work as long as your soil is good. If you go in and you chop down and then something happens, like right now, okay? Let's do this. Not trying to change the subject, but California, Los Angeles area, they had those hills, like what the Hollywood sign is on. They lost vegetation because of the fires. So that soil, it will absorb the nutrients left over through the fire, if there's any. But the problem is, in the meantime, if you can't get vegetation in there to hold that soil, the next time that you get a big rain, it's gone. You will get landslides from it, which stinks. There will be mudslides, landslides they're worried about. But when you're talking about rebuilding a potential fish population, if everybody is not doing their part to protect it, it's not going to matter. We can build our numbers, and that's great. But at the same time, the UK needs to do it, Norway needs to do it, because fish move. They're not limited to just United States. I mean, they might stay local, but it's a bigger, it's harder, I would think, with fish than it is with like a wolf reintroduction. Because the wolves, they may spread out over time, but I kind of think if it's possible to breed the cod, I don't know that it's harder per se, but because you can do things to help. You can set limits, and as long as, people are following those limits, you're good. But the oceans are big. You can protect within the United States waters. You can protect that. You can set up sanctuaries. But I don't know. This is where it would be nice. The United States has control of the ocean within its territorial sea, which extends 12 nautical miles from baseline. They also have control of the outer continental shelf, which extends beyond 200 nautical miles. No, it's not. But we can do what we can within that area. But that also means that if maybe we give permission for the UK to come into our water to fish, they have to follow our rules. I don't have a really good answer for this. Unfortunately, I just don't. And we have to do what we can, because if we don't, they will go extinct. Also, and I want to encourage you to, and I didn't do this morning, and I should have. I'm going to show this, or I'm going to put this out there for you. This is put out by the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And it is a sustainable, you do have to download it, but it is a sustainable seafood recommendation. And you can go into that. It'll tell you if you're going to go out to eat and you want to have fish, you can ask it. Here's cod and haddock. So one of the things that they say flat out, the majority of cod and haddock sold on the U.S. market are from certified sources that they recommend. However, most Atlantic cod should be avoided. So it's important to know what to buy and what to avoid. And so if you are out shopping, you want to buy Pacific cod and skip the fish caught. If it's Pacific cod, you want to buy the stuff that is caught in the United States or Canada. You can buy haddock caught in the US. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It'll have, if it's certified, it'll have an MSC label on it. A little bit more information on the Atlantic cod. Avoid all Pacific cod caught in Japan or Russia. Most cod populations in Japan are overfished, and their status in Russia is unknown, so it's best to avoid them. And it's illegal for U.S. businesses to purchase cod from Russia. So I did not know that, but that's interesting. No. MSC. Hold on. MSC is Marine Stewardship Council. So, basically, oh, this is interesting. Today, Atlantic cod populations are overexploited in the US and listed as endangered in Canada. But fisheries managers are working to rebuild that population. And you can go in and you can look at that. Again, if you want cod, get Pacific cod. Don't do cod that was caught in Japan or Russia. Do not buy Atlantic cod. They say you can, but probably should avoid it. And there is some cod that is farmed, that is grown on a farm, and that's okay. Problem is there's not very much of that available. So I recommend, if you're going to go out to eat, check out that link. There's a lot of really good information out there on it. And they will tell you if it's okay. I think, but definitely check it out. It's worth having because they cover a lot of other fish besides cod. Any other questions from anybody? Again, I announced this earlier. I'm going to announce it again. Lincoln Park Zoo has lost 2 animals to bird flu. And they're not the only zoo that has lost animals because of it. They lost a harbor seal and a flamingo. So, just a bit of information out there. Any other questions, comments? Something I didn't cover? I'm taking it as a no. Unless... No. We are. Thank you for coming in. I will see you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying if there were no questions or anything from anybody that we could go. Because now I have 4 people watching. So that's good. That's good. Hello, new people. Tomorrow, and I don't know, I really just want to do the subscriber thing one time, but I have it scheduled for both. Tomorrow we have our subscriber only event, and it is going to be an animal guessing game. An organism guessing game. And since it is Saturday, we could see more issues than otherwise, but I'm hoping not. So if there are no more questions or comments or stuff, we can sign off for the night. And if you're watching this from home and you didn't get a chance to get your questions asked, you can maybe leave those in a comment and I will answer them. So yeah. Have a good night, Carol. You can go. I'm going to hang tight for a little bit just in case, but I don't think we're going to get much. I think I'm going to head out because I don't see anything else. I don't have a lot of people chatting right now, so we're going to go. Have a good evening. Remember, always keep learning, love one another, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.